Hey people, it is Thursday, April the 24th. The time is 4:02 in the afternoon, and it is a very pleasant 22 degrees Celsius. I think this is the warmest day of 2025 so far. And I am on Wellington Street, right near where it begins at Church Street, just a bit to the east there. But I am going to walk around some of the financial district and neighboring downtown west area, formerly the entertainment district, during rush hour. And I heard they recently installed some of the new anti-terrorism barriers in front of Union Station, more of them. I previously did a video where they had only installed a few, I think, to test them out, but apparently now they've installed a whole bunch more all along the front of Union Station, so I thought I'd take a walk past there. We'll see how those look. I wasn't too impressed with what I saw in the previous video. Maybe they'll look better in larger numbers. Currently walking through Berczy Park, the famous dog fountain. Lots of people out enjoying the fantastic weather today. It's just one of those days where I just had to come out and take a walk. For obvious reasons. I don't think any of the days coming up in the forecast will be as warm as this, so this will be the warmest day we'll see here in the city for the next little while anyway. Maybe Mother Nature will surprise us and give us an even warmer day sooner than we think, but I'm taking advantage of this right now. All right, we're coming onto Front Street. Maybe I'll cross to the other side. This is the St. Lawrence Market neighborhood. There's Meridian Hall. Some old timers might remember way back when this was called the O'Keefe Center. And it had a few other names after that before it became Meridian Hall. I think the Sony Center, the Hummingbird Center. I'm sure it'll have another name again before too long. I almost tripped over a slight elevation in the sidewalk. Gotta be careful sometimes. The sidewalk might suddenly have an unexpected little rise going over various obstacles underneath. We reached Yonge Street. Already seeing the rush hour gridlock in action here. Gotta weave through the cars in the middle of the pedestrian crossing. Top drawer driving as usual.
20 bucks, guys, all sizes. The bar wasn't too good, so I think let's just I'm sure they had fun.
This is very illegal here, blocking the box. I think there are hefty fines in place now. There are some traffic enforcers at this intersection. Could have slapped a few tickets on them. I think like $400 now, or it's not chump change anyway. I found the bike parking. All right, we're almost at Union. I don't think they've removed the old barriers though, which were basically concrete jersey barriers as they call them, which looked horrible. Financial district views all around. Alright, so here are the old barriers still here. As ugly as ever. Heard that guy muttering to himself as he was riding his bike through the throngs of pedestrians on the sidewalk. He can mutter all he wants, he's not supposed to be riding his bike on the sidewalk. And here they are. So these will replace these. It'll be nice when these are taken away, hopefully soon. Although these aren't much to look at either. But at least you can sit on them, right? It does provide some seating. And they do have a nice blank canvas that I guess could be changed with some artwork and that sort of thing. I think maybe that will probably end up happening. But yeah, there are a lot of them. This was in response to the van attack in North York, which happened almost exactly 7 years ago. I think yesterday was the 7th anniversary of the North York van attack. Just to prevent a vehicle from plowing into pedestrians on the sidewalk. That's why those jersey barriers were first put there as a temporary measure, and then it took 7 long years before they came up with this so-called permanent solution. So I guess it does look a little better with more of them sort of evenly spaced like this. It does add a bit of uniformity. if that's a word. Union Station. And they are spaced wide enough apart to roll a big fat suitcase through, if that's what you have to do. So I'll just wait and see. I won't try to be too critical right now. I think if they're all painted up with neat designs, such as they did with the Jersey barriers here, although these are basically just notices right here, but you get the idea. The Royal York Hotel.
So is it?
Although I guess you can sit on these ones as well if you really want to. So these were the first ones they placed a while ago during Toronto Comic Con. I remember I made my video.
So I think he was asking me questions about, and then he's like, so, and then he's like, right there.
Personally, I see it as learning, so like I don't.
There's one big hole they dug there. There's University Avenue. It is a lot colder here in the shade now. All right, let's get off of Front Street at the next intersection.
There we go, right? It's the coordinator.
Crossing Simcoe Street. All right, north up Simcoe. This will take us into the west downtown, or downtown west. I can never seem to recall if it's one or the other. Such a generic new name for the neighborhood. Entertainment district, you know, is something you would always know exactly what to say.
Yeah, but
We'll take it over to John Street. Got Wellington Street here. I could go west, which is what I think I'll do. Try to talk over the music. It's always that style of music blasting out of the windows for some reason. It's never some nice classic rock. This part of Wellington Street is a bit dull. I usually try not to walk on there for too long unless I'm doing a specific Wellington Street walk, which I rarely do because it is so dull. All right, here's David Pico Square, Roy Thompson Hall. Can catch a symphony there. I find this is a slightly underutilized square. I mean, it's fairly lively at the moment. A lot of people are sitting on the benches, but it is really nice out today. On other days that aren't quite so nice, you'll find that it's pretty empty a lot of the time. This office complex was built to be the home of the Metropolitan Toronto government back in the pre-amalgamation days before the boroughs all amalgamated together to form the new city of Toronto in 1998. Toronto was a two-tiered municipality with an upper tier of government called the Municipality of Metropolitan Toronto, and this was where they had their council chambers. But after amalgamation, this basically became, well, not a complete white elephant, but the council chambers are obviously just merged with the existing city council at Toronto City Hall. And I think this still houses a lot of city offices, obviously, for the now city of Toronto. So basically, Toronto went from a two-tiered municipality with a federation of 6 boroughs or cities that shared services such as police and transit and public housing and many others, to a single-tiered city as it is now. That's why when you hear people talk about North York and Scarborough and East York and York, those are all still places in a lot of people's minds that exist to this day, even though they're basically dissolved. Etobicoke also. All right, we're at King Street. Much more interesting to walk along than Wellington Street. I might check out another street nearby called Mercer Street that I like to check up on every once in a while. It's been a construction zone for a long time. Several new buildings have been built simultaneously on one block of Mercer Street, including the new Nobu Hotel. There's Restaurant Row going along King, but we'll go down a block here. You got the awesome CN Tower view from this part of John Street also. Still not blocked by a new building. Many of the other views of the tower from various points around downtown have been lost over the years due to a new tall building popping up. All right, so here is Mercer Street. Let's see if it's all back to normal. It looks, I think, as back to normal as I've seen it in the last 5 years. Although the street itself is in pretty rough shape, it could use with a resurfacing. It could do with a resurfacing. The street has a very narrow, closed-in sort of feel with all these big developments on both sides now. So I think the Nobu is open for business now. I'm never exactly sure. I haven't heard any announcements or anything like that. So these two towers, one is the hotel, another one is a condo tower. Well, someone's coming out. I'll just assume that it's open for business. Or at least the neighboring condo is occupied now. Looks like another entrance over here. I guess for those who come in a vehicle. Another hotel on this side, the Sutton Place Hotel. And straight ahead, yet another hotel. And this building flew up really fast. It's a condo tower. It replaced the Wayne Gretzky's restaurant, which was on the corner here. Probably that worked out for the best. I can only imagine maybe if that Wayne Gretzky's restaurant was still here, what they might be experiencing right now in terms of business. Maybe a steep drop in customers. All right, so this is Blue Jays Way. More hotels. I've always mentioned on my previous walks through here that this is the part of downtown that seems to have the highest density of hotels and hotel rooms. I recently did a walk along the stretch of Blue Jays Way and Peter Street, so let's go on to King Street here and we'll go back the other way. We walk past Restaurant Row. From across the street, anyway. That pickup truck was just belching out exhaust. I'll hold my breath as I walk past there. See, there's a Tahini's open now there. Another place beside it. The Blums. Not sure what that is. A dental office. I think that should have been retained for a restaurant, but I guess you can't have everything. Pigeon Cafe.
Yeah, but what would be side streets?
And something still to fill up this space. Hopefully a restaurant or two. Just to keep Restaurant Row alive and extend it back to its previous glory, which was a bit more extensive. before they redevelop this section here for this condo tower.
The only person who's more obvious truth.
See, everywhere you look, there are new towers in this neighborhood. Matter of fact, let's go up this street. We're going to look at some of these old townhouses which were retained. They built that one. Oftentimes old buildings have to be mostly demolished and they'll leave a facade or two facades maybe. Whereas with these, they retained almost the entire old historic townhomes and basically built the new tower right behind them. But they refurbished them and kind of incorporated them into the development. That's the best way to go about it, I think, if possible. It's not always possible, though. Sometimes a facade is really all you can save, at the most. I think it looks good. They did a good job here. All right, we'll cross Adelaide Street. And then I'll take us up another block, but then I think I'm going to start to wrap up the walk. Yeah, this area still has a bit of an unfinished look about it. It needs some streetscaping, some new pavement, maybe some new sidewalks to make it look a bit more like less of a construction zone, or very recent construction zone at least. We're approaching Richmond Street, so I hope you enjoyed the Thursday afternoon rush hour walk on the warmest day of 2025 so far. Checked out those new terrorism barriers at Union Station. Let me know your thoughts on those if you want. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And also be sure to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. If you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal, as well as via my merch store, where you can also support the channel by becoming a channel member or by sending a super thanks if you prefer. And you can find me on Instagram also under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and thanks to all the channel members. And be sure to keep checking back, because as always, I will continue.